rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We just had a cell phone report.
I know. Donuts, okay.
All right. We'll start with our good news report.
Might have to wait here for a second.
Sure.
We're good.
No pressure.
That was perfect timing. Just knew what you're doing. So for today's good news report, I would like to welcome our newest employee, Christine Goldsmith. She came back for day number 2 today,
Yes.
which is great. So come on up here, Christine. So she started yesterday as our new vice president for finance. And so I asked her just to introduce herself to the group quickly.
Thank you for introducing me, Christine Goldsmith. Yes, second day, end of my second day. Just got here to Sioux Falls, came from Rapid City from Western Dakota Tech is where I was most recently. Let's see, what else would you like to know about me? Let's see, I've been in finance for a couple decades, doing that type of thing. Small time as a city administrator in Mobridge, MBA. And super excited to be here and be part of the team.
Well, welcome. We are excited to have you as well.
Right.
You will be getting to know the rest of us board members as we have more meetings and interactions, but we're very glad to have you here.
All right, thank you
Welcome
so much.
to Sioux Falls.
All right, thank you.
So welcome again, Christine. We are thrilled to have you, so thank you. And then I do want to acknowledge, as well as part of this transition, Eric Van Laken. He has taken over a lot of the operations, so facilities and maintenance, the bookstore, as well as the Scarborough Child Care Center as well. And so he has taken on a different title as well as Vice President of Technology and Operations. And so I just want to thank him for taking on this role and his great work that he is doing as well. So that is our good news report.
Awesome, thank you. And thank you, Eric. Yes, it's a big job with a lot of different tasks in kind of different realms of the world, but I'm sure you'll do a wonderful job. Thank you. All right, can I get a motion and a second for approval of the minutes from the meeting held on March 10th, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those are approved. We do not have anybody wishing to speak to us today. Can I get a motion and a second for approval of the agenda?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. Do not have any conflicts today. Can I get a motion and approval for the consent agenda 9A through C?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is approved. And now on to the reports of the president.
All right. Thank you,
You're having issues with that one, so.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We have 3 reports for you today. We will start with our monthly academic program update with surgical technology. So I'd like to invite our 2 faculty members, Josie Otto and Andy McGuire, to come up and present on surge technology. And a student as well.
Well, hi, everybody. My name is Josette Otto. I'm the program director for the Surgical Technology program. My name is Annie McGuire, and I'm one of the instructors for the SurgeTech program. Okay, so we're really excited to share on our program today. Not really just our program, but essentially surgical technology. We really like to put out there really what surgical technologists do. So we'll get into that here shortly, but essentially for the Surgical Technology Associate's Degree Program, I just wanted to kind of put our mission statement out there. And through a programmatic accreditation, our mission statement states to prepare entry-level surgical technologists who are competent in the cognitive, knowledge, psychomotor skills, and effective behavior learning domains to enter the profession. All right, a little bit about the profession. Surgical technologists are part of the allied health professionals field. We're an integral part of the medical and surgical team, delivering patient care in the operating room setting. We work under medical supervision to facilitate safe and effective conduct of invasive surgical procedures. Individuals work under the supervision of a surgeon to ensure that the operating room and environment is safe, that equipment functions properly, and the operative procedure is conducted under conditions that maximize patient safety. Surg techs possess expertise in theory, application of sterile and aseptic technique, and combine the knowledge of human anatomy, surgical procedures, implementation of tools, technologies to facilitate a physician's performance of invasive and diagnostic procedures.
So just to kind of build a little bit on not only the profession, but the people who are kind of behind the masks at Southeast Tech and the surgical technology program. So myself as program director, Annie McGuire as a lead instructor in lab and in some lecture courses. And then we have our lab specialist, Ginger Peterson. We're also accompanied by a really great adjunct team that we have built in the last couple of years of starting our position. So we have Alyssa Peterson, Elizabeth Belmontes, Jessica Richter, Elizabeth Elkafifi, Andrew Heavey, Lynette Deutsch, Justin Fries, and Molly Kaufman. And we're excited to announce too, she's not included in this picture, but we just took on another adjunct. Her name is Beth Gale, so she'll be starting here with us shortly.
Just a brief program overview. We're an Associate of Applied Science degree, a 2-year program. Our students are eligible to sit for the National Certification Exam through NBS TSA to earn the credentials of CST, Certified Surgical Technologist. We offer extensive clinical opportunities at multiple sites within a 6-hour radius of Sioux Falls. Probably one of our most exciting is Mayo Clinic. We just obtained that one last year. So, students complete a total of 656 clinical hours before they graduate. They also complete a minimum of 120 surgical cases, which are a requirement from our accrediting body. And then we recently updated our curriculum to align with the new STSE programmatic accreditation standards through ARCS TSA and KHEP, and our program is 65 credits.
So kind of as shown up here in the PowerPoint, we just have a breakdown of our program curriculum by semester. So in that first semester, they're taking in combination some of those gen ed requirements, a student success. With those gen ed requirements, it includes an anatomy, a medical language, and then they're diving right into programmatic courses. So they kind of get to dabble in surgical asepsis lab and understanding surgical asepsis. Second semester, they move into a more advanced anatomy to kind of grasp what they've learned in the basic. Our students are required to take CNA. If they have a CNA certification, we use that in place, then they have one less course that they need to take. ST 100, 120, and 120 lab are all kind of built off of each other with surgical technique and practice. Then we move into third semester, and in third semester, they are still kind of working on some of those gen ed requirements. We have them doing a psychology and a math requirement, as well as they kind of start a perioperative management course that leads into an 8-week perioperative management clinical experience. And then that builds into them learning surgical procedures and building on that knowledge in the lab as well. fourth semester, interprofessional healthcare, which is a newly established course on campus that our students are really enjoying. ST 114 is their first clinical practice, where they're at the hospital 2 days a week. ST 123, surgical pharmacology, and then 212 is more advanced on the surgical procedures. And then they'll take a microbiology. And then fifth semester, they're wrapping up with their ST 124 clinical practice 2 course. And this is really a vigorous clinical. They complete 360 hours in 10 weeks. So this is where they have a lot of their hands-on experience working with real patients. This slide's just a really great view of programmatic data. And so I'm gonna kind of turn here so I can see numbers really well. But I'm just gonna kind of focus on these 2 most recent years, so 2023 to 2025. As you can see, total fall enrollment went from 69 to 71, so increasing. Really exciting thing with that enrollment is that we are now accepting 48 this coming fall. So we did get a maximum enrollment capacity increase to just continue building and growing the program. New students, 38, and then in 2024 to 25, 18. And then returning students, 24, and then 24 to 25, we have 42. Transfer students has gone up a little bit there, 7 in 23 to 24, and then in 24 to 25, we have 11. Programmatic retention rate, we're sitting at an 85, so that's really great. We're continuing to kind of build in that retention. Number of graduates, we had 20 graduates last year. We are going into summer clinical with 30 this summer, so we're gonna have a good chunk of graduates, which is super exciting to put out in industry. And then in-field placement rate, we have done a really great job of staying above 90% in previous years and been 100 the last 3, so. As you can see kind of to the right there, the fall enrollment, and we see kind of that decrease there in 22, 23, but then we're kind of slowly climbing back up as we move into 24, 25. So that's exciting too. And then this was just another fun thing to look at was demographics for our program. So currently for 24-25, full-time students are at 23, part-time 48, age 18 to 23, 59 students in 24 to 25, and then 24 plus is 12. And then gender breakdown, female, 66, definitely a female dominant program, male 5, and then we have the known non-white, which is 12 to 17, and then first generation 15 and 11.
Some program highlights and achievements that we wanted to share with you was our max enrollment increase from 35 to 48. We are a Build Dakota eligible program, and we keep increasing that number every single year for recipients. We also partner with the Vera Academy, and then Stanford's Classrooms to Careers Partnership. Some of our achievements, we have spent our first year teaching in the simulation center, and it has made a significant difference in student retention, student understanding of concepts, and application of concepts. So, we participated in the Mike Rowe event for the Build Dakota 10th anniversary. And then recently we partnered with the Sioux Falls Lions Club for our students to do community service projects throughout the year. So they go into the Sioux Falls schools, smaller community schools, to do the vision screenings. And then they also help with like the pancake feed at the Active Generations Living Center for their Christmas party. So good opportunity for the students and us. And then these are just some pictures of our simulation center after we've moved in. So. And then a few pictures of our graduating classes.
Okay, so we do have a student here. His name is Grayson, and he's a first year. So we're going to have him come up, and he's just kind of prepared to talk a little bit about why he chose Surge Tech, what he's enjoying, and then if you guys have any questions for him, feel free to ask.
Hi, my name is Grayson Larson. I'm a first-year student at Southeast Tech. I chose Southeast Tech because I knew what I wanted to do for a career. I think it was a no-brainer. Southeast Tech has been really good to me. I think a 4-year college for me was just not the right career path. A 2-year was just really what I wanted to do, and looking for a major and going through everything healthcare. My parents both did healthcare. Going through all the majors, something really spoke to me about surgical tech. I honestly really didn't know anything about it. I went in blind, and I gotta say I love it. The past first semester was probably the most fun I've ever had in school. I learned so much. Every class period I went to, I learned something new. I could apply terms I learned from high school to stuff I would be learning in class. It is just so fun. And now I think I know so much, but even I read a book and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm learning, you know? Like, and then like you take a test and your brain's mush because you try so hard. And I think that's a good thing. I try really hard and I really enjoy it. Yeah, I think it's great. Blanking here.
Does anybody have any questions for him?
You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I'm curious where you graduated from high school.
Yeah, I'm from Mitchell. I graduated last year.
And have you, I didn't memorize the class schedule yet, but have you been in an actual OR yet?
Yeah, had a lab at 7 a.m. first semester. And from not being a morning person to being, yep, you have 7 a.m. 2 days or 2 times a week was a huge lifestyle change. And, but I mean, going for the career, I mean, starting for surgery starts, I mean, your cases are going to be starting at 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. I mean, you just got to get used to it. And that's something I'm really committed to with assignments. I'm really committed to doing them. It's not something like, oh, I have to do this 5-page assignment. It's something I look forward to because it's something I enjoy doing. I think that's something I have to be really honored and pleased about. I just accept the role as being on the advisory board for Surgery Tech, which is a huge honor. And I got to say thank you for inviting me.
Very nice. Well, you probably know this, but there is such a demand for surgical techs. And I think it's one of those roles that's kind of a behind the scene. Nobody really, like you said, doesn't understand maybe what they do or what their role is, but it's super important. And so I would encourage you to just keep working hard and be ready, because some physicians are difficult. So just work on some of those interpersonal skills to make yourself ready. There's a lot of great people that you're going to work with, and I hope you have a long career and get to experience so many different things. You know, there's people who specialize in peds, or there's people who specialize in cardiology or whatever. And I think that's the beauty of healthcare, is that you don't have to just pick something and then you're there. You really can move around and kind of keep it fresh and learning. So thank you for sharing your experience with us, and I wish you the best as the rest of your program.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Not for Grayson, but for the other
Oh, sure. You bet.
instructors. Thank you, Grayson. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Can you please tell me what, I'm not going to say it right, perioperative management is?
Okay, so perioperative management essentially is an encompassing term for the 3 stages of surgery, which would be the preoperative care, the intraoperative care, and the postoperative care of the patient.
I don't think I've ever come across that word before, so. Being a language arts type person, I had to have vocabulary study. Your transfer students, I'm kind of curious, are they transferring from other programs within Southeast? Or are you finding students coming in from other schools?
From what I believe when reviewing statistics with Christy Borthams, who kind of managed all of that on campus, was that essentially transfer students are actually the ones that are coming in from other colleges.
Nothing else. Just wanted to say thank you again. Presented really well. Put this on your resume. You probably will have a ton of job offers just from this little opportunity you had. So thank you for coming and speaking. I know it can be a little intimidating, but hopefully it was a good experience. Good luck with your studies. Become a morning person. Real story, really no one likes being a morning person. You just have to be. But great job. Thanks for being here. Sounds like you have awesome teachers to work with too, staff.
And thank you both for continuing to, keep that program full, because there's definitely a need for that, and the retention looks really good too. So, and of course the placement, and that's what I think a lot of people look at when they're like trying to pick a career. If I do this, will I get a job when I'm done? And there's just no question that there will be many options for them. So keep up the good work. Thank you both. Can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the surgical technology program update?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That is acknowledged.
All right, next up, I would like to invite Alex Anderson to come up. Alex is one of our student success advisors, as well as our career services coordinator, to give us an update on what's happening in career services.
Awesome. Thank you, President Glassman. Good afternoon, President Ryder, members of the board. It's a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. Talk to you a little bit about career services. Before I dive into that, I just want to give you a little update about who I am. My name is Alex Anderson. I'm a student success advisor and the career services coordinator at Southeast Tech. I've been employed at Southeast Tech since June of 23. I originally started as the activities coordinator, so I did that for a year. And then last July, I switched over to career services. So I'm wrapping up my first full academic year in that position. I went to SDSU. I received my Master's of Education, Administration of Student Affairs there, with the graduate certificate in academic advising, and then my Bachelor's of Science in Human Development Family Studies. Like I mentioned, I used to be the activities coordinator at Southeast Tech, but then at SDSU, I also served as the career education coordinator and institutional assessment coordinator. I think those just prepared me to be successful in the role that I'm in today. So career services. We provide services to all current students and then alumni as well. So if a student ever does attend Southeast Tech and they graduate, we have their services or they can use our services forever. They can always come back, and we do all sorts of things, whether it's professional documents. This can include resume writing, cover letters. I've worked with students that have never created a resume before, so they need to start from scratch, start from the beginning. Or then I've had students that are ready to start applying for different jobs. They just never had to tailor a resume before, just adjust it for each specific job posting. So we're just putting those finishing touches on them and get them ready to go. After they've applied, done their resumes and cover letters, we can do interview prep too. So if a student, a lot of them have never done a full professional interview before, so we can come in, do a mock interview. We can treat it just like an actual interview process. I'll ask them questions, give them a little feedback as we go, and then when we're done, wrap everything back up, and then give them feedback and suggestions on ways to improve, ways that they can be successful, and just kind of what to expect when they get into that interview process, maintaining good posture, dress appropriate, arrive early, all those sorts of things. And then other services provided by my office include the Career Connections, which is the online job board, our different industry-specific job fairs throughout the school year, and then the Career Resource Library. But I'll dive into those last three here in the next couple of slides. So first I have the Career Connections. This is our online job board. This is used by employers and students alike. The screenshot that you see on the board there, this is what it would look like for a student point of view after they create their account. When they create an account, they go in, put in their own personal information, the program they're studying, when their expected graduation date is. They can add resumes, all those sort of things. And then, as you can see, there's lots of different things on this screen. And that top row there, there's different resources such as like job finders, career explorers. They can add their resume. They can have a public profile so employers can look at them. So there's lots of different things that they can utilize on this website. The second row there is targeted jobs specifically for them, depending on what they signed up as for their program. This student's likely a health student. There's a lot of LPN, RN jobs right in there, and they have been searching for CNA positions. So it does filter it out for them if they want to take advantage of this. And then the bottom row, this is like the latest jobs that had just been approved when the screenshot was taken. So it shows there is a wide variety of positions across the region that are posted on here. We have lots of different employers that work with us. So there's something for all students at Southeast Tech available on here. And then other things for students on the top, in that top banner in the blue there, there's a few more tabs up there. One of them is the events tab. That's where they can see all the future and upcoming career fairs that are gonna be happening on campus. So they can go in, see which employers have already registered for the career fairs, and then they can kind of start researching and deciding who they want to talk to when they go, if there's anyone specific. And then the big one that they're probably going to use is the jobs tab. That's the left one. That's where they can view all the jobs that have been posted on the job board here. That's from all the employers across the region that utilize this. And all jobs on here have to be approved before they can be seen by students. So just to make sure they're like real, legit, not scam jobs, I go through and do a little research on the company, make sure it's real before I approve it. And then once it is, the students have access to it and they can apply right on there. And like I said, this is also used by our employers. This is how they sign up for our career fairs. They register through here, and then this is how they post their jobs on there. So they can post as many as they like and hopefully get those those students applying to their positions. Just a couple quick facts. Right now, there's over 3,500 employer accounts on the job board, over 4,400 student alumni accounts, and over 875 positions posted on there. So there's lots of different opportunities for our students to get out there and utilize this. Next, here is some info about our career fairs. So throughout the school year, we have 12 industry-specific career fairs. I have them all laid out there by semester in that bottom table there. You can see there's a wide variety of different kind of career fairs that we have, so we try and hit as many programs as we can so as many students can utilize these resources. Right now, we have 281 employer registrations, and that's still going because we have one career fair left this semester. In May, there's one last health career fair. And then so far, over 900 students have attended our career fairs, so this will just keep going as well. They're usually very busy. There's a couple pictures there on the side. Most of them are hosted over in our hub on campus, so it's a great way just for students to get in there, start networking, meeting some of these potential employers for the future. And then a little bit more on the career fairs. After every career fair, I send a survey out to all the employers that attended, just trying to get some feedback, see if they were satisfied with it, what they liked, areas for improvement that they would suggest, and just other comments that we can get. And these are two quotes directly from different employers that came to different career fairs. And I won't go through them exactly, but essentially they're just highlighting how much they enjoyed coming to campus, how they enjoyed engaging with our students, how they seem prepared, and then they plan on coming back to all the future career fairs that they can. This is great to see because it just knows that I'm doing everything good to set them up and get them here. But it's also talking about how well the students are prepared to go to these career fairs. They're excited, they're eager to go meet with different employers. And from our academic programs as well, they're getting them the skills they need in the classes so they can be successful in talking to them. So it's good to see all these positive feedback. Next, we have information here on our career resource library. So this is something that's been developed and enhanced throughout the school year. This is going to serve as a central location for all our career services materials that we have. It's going to live on our MyTech page, so it's going to be easily accessible for students to get onto it. All students should have access to it. And then we can also track numbers to see like what different resources they're downloading more often, which ones they're utilizing the most, which ones we might need to continue developing. It's going to include everything from templates and examples for our professional documents like cover letters, the resumes, and then just tips and strategies for things that they might not have a whole lot of experience on, the interviewing, the searching for the job, preparing to go to career fairs, and just being professional in the workplace. This is ever evolving and it's going to continue to grow as we see a need for more resources, but it's ideally just going to help the students have easier access to the different materials that we have and get them ready to be successful once they graduate and get into the career field. One other thing that we're working on utilizing is Forge. This is through our Navigate system. This is something new that it's going to be an online resource for students. It's completely virtual. It's day-in-the-life job simulations from leading companies across the nation. They create their own. Some of the companies include Lululemon, Bank of America, PepsiCo. There's some other big name companies that do these, but they're completely self-paced virtual simulations that take about a couple hours each. And it's just ideally going to get students to complete some real life tasks, go through a real life situation of what it would be like to work in these different career fields. The cool thing with this is once they do complete these simulations, they get a certificate at the end of it. So they can add this to their resume, they can add to their LinkedIn profile. So for some of those students that don't have a ton of work experience and don't have something to completely fill out a resume yet, they can add this on there. Or for those students that do have a complete resume, it just makes them a little more marketable for some of those different employers. Ideally, we're trying to add this to our student success seminar class next fall as well. So hopefully we can have them complete one of the modules for an assignment, and then that'll get them to like it, and then they'll want to keep going and earn a little more certificates. And it can link directly to our career services website. And outside of the job simulations, there's also different resources for career materials that we can add to the career resource library that I touched on in the last slide. And then one other event that we hosted throughout the school year, it was actually last week, in partnership with the marketing department on campus and then the student activities coordinator. We did 2 different days in 2 different buildings. We did a professional headshot event, and then we did some resume reviews as well. So the marketing they set up a backdrop for us and they took the pictures while I was there doing resume reviews, looked at their LinkedIn cover letters, whatever they really wanted reviewed. It was nice to be in the separate buildings. So students, they were given like an advance notice of this beforehand through emails and different flyers and those sort of things. So some came specifically for this. They dressed up to get their picture taken, to get their resume reviewed. Others we caught while they were going back and forth to and from class, so they just stopped by and took advantage of the situation. Overall, between the 2 days, we had right around 30 students that stopped by. So overall, for the first time, we thought this was pretty successful, and we're looking forward to continue doing this in future semesters. Hope to continue going. And lastly, I have the graduate outcome report, just a refresher from last year's. This is from the class of 2023. This report had a 98% job placement rate with 41 programs from Southeast Tech having 100% job placement for their students. Of the graduates that we heard back from, 86.3% stayed in the state of South Dakota, and the average starting salary was $45,760. The program that had the highest annual average starting salary was our cardiovascular sonography program, and that came in at $65,104. This is from the class of 2023. The class of 2024 is getting wrapped up now. It will be finished by the end of April. We're just getting the final report from the Department of Labor on wage rates for that first quarter earnings. So when we do publish it, it has the most up-to-date and accurate info that we can have. So thank you again for listening to me talk about career services here. That's my presentation. Any questions that I can answer for you?
This is more of a comment, but I love the opportunities for students to have headshots taken.
Yeah.
Because anymore with LinkedIn or whatever the latest and greatest version of that is now, it's really important to have that professional headshot. So I think that's just an awesome opportunity you've given your students, and I hope more take advantage of it. Because when they have that, welcome to our firm, welcome to our company, thing in the newsletter, they want to have a nice picture.
Yeah, it was great. Our search tech student here was one that stopped by too.
And I would just, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thank you. I sent a mentee of mine your way, and she practiced.
I know who you're talking about. I met with her last week.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
She said her interviews for Dakota Bell went super well, and
Awesome.
I was super thankful because that saved me some time on trying to figure out how to
yeah.
interview her.
Awesome.
So I'm really happy to hear this. But thank you again for your work.
Yes.
I'm super appreciative of having, well-rounded students coming out prepared to interview, having nice resumes, because you'd be amazed how many people have never made a resume, even into your collegiate level. So thank you.
Yeah, I would just add, it seems like, if you get your students that come from high school and then they go to school right away, sometimes those students maybe have worked in a restaurant or something, and those are the types of places where they really just needed people. So
Absolutely.
their interview experience would be nothing
Just walk in
like
and get the job.
what it would be if they're applying for a job in their career. And so it's just an amazing opportunity for them to be able to sit down and have a conversation and practice, like, oh, I shouldn't say that. No, you should not say that,
Right.
and kind of get that feedback in a safe place to help them get that confidence. And I was just going to add to Gail's comment, I love it when you guys do things that are like cross-curricular. So when you can involve the marketing students who are now getting experience also while helping other students, I just think that's such a great, just a great partnership across the campus. And there's so many ways that happens. And I just really appreciate that they're getting their real world experience, but they're also kind of performing a service or a community act as well. So really, really good job. I did have a question about the career services, like the page. Is that public or do the students have to sign in?
So where, if it lives on my tech, they'd have to sign in.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but you want to verify. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Anybody else? No. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the career services update?
So smooth. So moved. So smooth too.
So I have a motion, I think, and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. That is approved and smooth. Both.
I promise to go quickly then. No. So last report is just an update on this past legislative session as well. For us, this was mainly financially focused and had budget implications. You've probably heard this before, but really going into this session, there were more unknowns than I think probably anybody can remember in a long time. It was very much a historic session with the governor changing over not even a week into the session. And just not knowing, with a very different makeup and composition in this legislature this session, we really didn't know what to expect. Coming out of it, I would have to say we fared far better than I think we would have expected if you would have asked me 3 months ago how we were going to look. That doesn't mean we had all wins, but overall I think we came out much further ahead than some of our colleague agencies and schools as well, particularly if you look at maybe the Board of Regents schools in particular. So overall, quite pleased with how we did, but like I said, not all wins. So as we think about it, as you talk to legislators, both on the Senate and the House side, both Republicans and Democrats, just the image and brand of technical education in general in this state is very strong. Very supportive of the work we do. They recognize the great graduates that are coming out of the technical colleges and out of Southeast Tech. So that really made the conversations easier as we talked about what is our funding for and really how is it going to help our students and advance their education. And then I'll get into each one of these in more detail here in the coming slides. But at a high level, we did see an increase in our per student allocation, a decrease in maintenance and repair, a decrease in the level of support that the state is providing to dual credit, and I know that is something that you've already talked about a little bit on the K-12 side as well already. And then we had some mixed results for our one-time funding requests. And then the kind of the non-budget bill that came out of this session as well related to concealed carry. So I'll give a brief update on where we're at with that as well. So our per student allocation is really where the bulk of our money comes from at a statewide level. This is based upon FTE, or the full-time equivalent student. So how many credits are our students taking? So we did get an increase in the amount of money that we will be getting from the state in the upcoming year. And in each of these budget slides, you'll see a couple of different columns. So the first column is what we received in this current year, 2024-25. The next column is what the governor's recommendation was when she had her recommended budget in December. And then the third column is what is actually projected coming up in this upcoming year, and then what the difference is. So the governor had recommended 1.25% increase in December, and that is what we saw coming out of the legislature as well. This is an estimated increase for us of about 140,000. This would assume flat enrollment this year. It's based upon, it's kind of a year lag. And as you know, our enrollment was up about 4% this year. So hopefully we'll actually be a little higher than that as well. It does vary based upon the funding isn't equal based upon programs. So more expensive programs to run, we do get a little more money. So it does vary a little bit, but we do expect a nice little increase in our per student allocation. M&R, so this is the maintenance and repair. This is the one where we did take quite a bit of a hit. For us, we're seeing a 45% reduction in our M&R going forward, and this is an ongoing cut that we will see in future years as well. This follows the recommendation that the governor did propose coming back in December. And this was a recommendation for all state agencies as well. So this wasn't just unique to higher education or technical colleges, but all the state agencies are seeing them. So the 45% cut did pass, which would be a reduction of about $271,000. Because there was some one-time funds available for this upcoming year, we will receive an additional $210,000. So what we will actually see for this year is a cut of about $60,000. But in future years, so fall of 26, if there is not some kind of permanent correction put in place, we would see that $270,000 cut take effect. in future years as well. So that will be something that we'll be continuing to have conversations with legislators with over this upcoming year and into the next legislative session as well, to hopefully we can find something to help address that cut, because that is obviously pretty significant as we think about this. Covers things like a new roof, parking lots, chillers and boilers, everything to paint and carpet in classrooms as well. So all those really physical facilities that we rely on every day to be able to educate our students. Dual credit, as you've already heard about, this is one that did pass. So currently it is, the state is paying 2/3 and students are paying 1/3. It actually died in committee at one point and then got smoked back out. So we thought we had a victory here, but it did not turn out as such. So it will be a 50-50 payment coming forward for next year. So it'll increase the share that students are paying by 50%. So we're obviously a little nervous and anxious to see what this impact is, and in particular, who, in terms of students, this really does impact in coming years. So this will be a conversation we'll continue to have with legislators as well. And then for one-time funding, it was a bit of a win and a bit of a loss. So we did have a bill to receive one-time funds to pay off the Health Simulation Center. We have a balloon payment coming due on that in 7 years. That did not make it out of joint appropriations. This was not a surprise. We knew it was a long shot, but we also felt like it was a shot that we needed to take. But it did not pass, so we are exploring other avenues on how we will continue to have that funding when that payment does come due in 7 years' time from now. The victory we did have was on one-time funding. As a technical college system, we will receive $4 million in one-time funds. Our share of that is about $1.2 million. And as we have done with equipment in the past, the state puts in 2/3 and we also contribute 1/3 in local funding as well. So that continues the model. So it'll be an additional $1.8 million that we will put into equipment. And this is equipment that goes into classrooms. So this is equipment in, it's things that they're using in the surgical technology classroom, the health equipment, it's trades equipment, welding, everything that they use. So that was a win. It was something that we saw a lot of support for throughout the session. We weren't necessarily sure it was close for a while there, as we were really looking at what the budget was going to look like, but we were able to just get it across the finish line by a couple votes. So we are very appreciative of the support on both sides of the aisle to get that passed. And then finally, SB 100, which is a concealed carry. And this says that any board of regents or board of technical education institution can't limit to individuals who have an enhanced carry permit. We can't restrict them from concealed carry of a pistol on campus, as well as a stun gun, mace, pepper spray, or other chemical irritants. There are some limitations, which are essentially if there are flammable liquids around, we can designate those rooms as exceptions. So we are currently working with our legal counsel. We had a conversation with them this morning. All four of the technical colleges are going to be working together on common policy, so that way we do have a consistent message that we are sending to our students, our faculty, staff, as well as the public as well, so that we are speaking with one voice. So this law does take effect July 1, so we have quite a bit of work to do, but we'll be working on a communication plan as the policy gets developed and rolled out, as well as just guidelines and what are the questions that people can ask or not ask, and just what do you need to know when you're interacting with students every day. So it's fair to say there's a lot of questions. There's definitely some anxiety that we just don't have all the answers to at this point, but we'll be working over the coming months to really get that way. When the law does take effect this summer, they will be as equipped as we can make them to really carry out the spirit of the law, but making sure that we are also protecting the safety of everybody on campus as well. So that's an update on the legislative session. Any questions?
Dr. Klossman, I'm assuming Senate Bill 100, like the Board of Regents institutions, it would cover your student housing, your apartment complexes as well?
Correct, yeah, because the housing is on our campus grounds, it doesn't cover what happens within student housing as well.
What did the language on that bill when it said enhanced permit? What does enhanced mean?
I am actually going to ask Jim if he can come up and answer this question.
Regular permit?
Because I could give you an answer, but I know it won't be correct. So Jim will actually be able to tell you the truth.
Good evening. It does a little bit. The state of South Dakota went to a concealed permit, basically was your driver's license or your ID card that's issued by the state. Since then, they created an enhanced permit. As such, there's certain regulated training you have to have in the use of it, use of force, stuff like that. So it does take more training. Generally, you must be 21 and over, but there is a restricted enhanced for 18 to 20. But that's what it's there for, is to give them more training so their ability to know what they're carrying and why.
Currently, anybody in South Dakota can carry, but they had to get, for certain situations, have to have the enhanced permit, right?
Yeah, basically anyone in the state of South Dakota, as long as you can own a gun and you have a driver's license or a state issued ID, you are allowed to carry concealed. This is just to give you, it's to give you that next level of permit.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I just have a lot to say about the legislative session.
It was,
Done a little.
yeah, I will say I'm very appreciative of Nick Wendell at the Board of Technical Education and Grace Beck, who is our lobbyist at Redstone that the board contracts with. They definitely had a lot of conversations with legislators and with other lobbyists at the Capitol about all of these bills, but in particular around this bill. The final version is a more palatable version than what the original version of the bill was. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's perfect or what we would like to see, but we're very appreciative of their efforts to at least try to make it better.
I just think in general, the time spent on bills that really are frivolous and not necessary is just frustrating. And for them to spend a bunch of time on a bill so that people can carry a weapon on a college campus, as well as a bar, I believe was part of that, which everyone should have a weapon in the bar. So I just feel like the time spent on those, and then you look at the time they spent to make it harder for students to take dual credit and, you know, make it more financially of a commitment to those people. And it's not just even the students. When you look at our Avera Academy and our Classrooms to Careers, those organizations are paying for the dual credits for our students. So that then becomes a bigger investment on our partners' part too. And so there's just this whole trickle down. And I just feel like the legislature spends a lot of time on surface level, what they think are just easy kind of wins that really aren't wins to begin with. And if they would actually dig in and do something, they could make a really big difference to a lot of students and to a lot of communities. So that's my soapbox.
Well, I would hope that and ask that until we get to the next legislative session, that you can spend some time with area legislators and your counterparts in the other 3 campuses can do the same with their area legislators. Take them around, see what we're doing. I do the same with my former colleagues at the K-12. You know, every time I see a former colleague superintendent who's still working, I just say, get your legislators in, because that's the most important thing. People tend to remember, we tend to remember our own experiences. I mean, I've been out of high school a long time, but you know, had I not worked in education, my example of what school is like was one I graduated a very long time ago. And schools are different, campuses are different, kids are different, students are different, and we just need to show them what we're doing. And I would hope that maybe if they became more familiar with your operations, our schools functioning in K-12, every time I go visit a school in our K-12 district, I always say to the principal, gosh, where's all those kids running around, you know, looking like animals and using litter boxes? I don't see any. When I look in the classrooms, I see teachers teaching and kids learning. Wow. You know, but we hear all these crazy negative things, and I think our legislators have an ear to the crazy sometimes. And I would hope that at your level, at the collegiate level, we could do the same and get people in your campus, get people to see your program, see what's going on, and see why you might have concerns about something like guns on campus.
Yeah, I appreciate that point. One of the things we did start to do this fall is invite them to campus individually so that and in small groups, that way we could take them around and show them. And with the upcoming work in Ed Wood, it gave a great opportunity to invite some of them out just to start those conversations. And so it is something we will continue to do, not just throughout this year, but in future years as well. And now, especially after this session, now that I've been able to meet them and we both have a face to put with a name, really continue those conversations and invite more of them out to campus over the next, 8 months or so until the next session ramps up. So looking for the opportunity to do that, because I totally agree with you. It's a lot easier to inform them of the ramifications of a bill, both positive and negative, when they actually can see what occurs on a campus every day.
You know what? Unfortunately, we spend a lot of time on people with their kooky bills, but we do have a good core group of sensible people still in here. And, the more we connect with those folks from both sides of the aisle that are regular, moderate South Dakota legislators, the better off we're going to be too. So, I would just encourage everybody to reach out.
Thank you. Anything else? Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for the update.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the legislative update?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is acknowledged. And then we have a whole slew of policies. So all of these really are review revise, except for one. So on the first page there, 11A through J, going through and just reviewing for language, making sure that it's matching practice, updating some different wording. We still had some STI stuff versus STC. We had some different leadership roles that needed to be changed. So really a majority of these were just some cleanup in relation to that. So I think you all had the opportunity to look at them. Did anybody have any questions or comments?
I would make a comment. I sent a few little clarifying questions to Dr. Klossman, and Mr. Lawrence also answered some things for me, and I appreciated very much their clarification. And I think they've got some good policies here.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the review revision of those policies 11A through J, please?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Those are approved. And then we have 12A is a first read, and it is an employee's personal property. And there were some significant changes that were made to this, so we just wanted to bring it here and have the opportunity for anybody that wanted to provide feedback on that. So this one will be posted and then come back next month for approval if there's no additional questions or concerns about that. So can I get a motion and a second for first read of policy GBGB-STC?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That one is approved. And before we adjourn, I would like to know who our guests are.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we appreciate guests, and we like to provide some education. So we're glad that you're here, and hopefully you learned something about about what we do. So yeah, welcome, and thank you for coming. Yeah.
So I believe in our consent, was it in our consent? I don't remember which one. We're changing from NEPN to the numerical code for our policies. So we're approving these with the old NEPN, the National Education Policy Numbering System. When does the numerical change happen for your policies?
So I'm looking at
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
The plan right now is to convert to the new policy classification and have it implemented July 1.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. If there's nothing else, can I get a motion and a second for adjournment?
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.